Good morning, Chris Sanfilippo over here at Cold Spring Harbor. Welcome to our site visit of Cold Spring Harbor Labs. I would say the coolest part of this project is that we have all different building elements, right? We have precast construction for the garage. We have our mass timber, and then you have your traditional concrete framing and steel. So it's pretty cool. Today we're placing around 275 yards for our plaza level pour here. A lot of logistics and coordination involved. We fly weekly, so to be able to see where we are at almost a live time frame on an overall drawing is pretty cool, and it's very useful.
The progress tracking is really the big thing that I see with that is if you fly it every week, this garage goes up in 14 days, you see the whole progress. It's not like you fly it over once and then you'll fly it over at the end and you just see before and after. You get to see the actual construction of it.
Being able to drop a pin at any location to confirm a elevation, or even doing a takeoff for the lab to understand how much soil still needs to be removed. Being able to say, hey, we got around 60,000 yards left. I could wait on maybe 10,000 until I finish another portion of the job, but I really got to get 50,000 out. Was definitely a cool component to be able to share that information with the lab. Another cool feature that I learned was that it takes the existing contours from our contract drawing set to really be able to see that visually up on the screen, and able to actually bring the site work contractor to our office and sit down and say, hey, let's look at how much you need to remove at each area. It's pretty cool to be able to pretty much draw a line and see my current elevation versus what contract elevation is, and really be able to analyze that area. Yeah. To me, that was like, okay, the data is right at my fingertips. When I could take that aerial map and kind of mark up a drone drawing to be able to speak to an overall view and kind of plan that work with logistics, with different trades. We talk about laydown area, we talk about equipment deliveries, sequencing work, different building elevations. It's very valuable to bring that technology to the field. As we expanded this project, the roadway changed. So to see where that footprint of the parking garage would sit versus the original, and how far deep as far as the cutting elements of removing soil in that area was, you wouldn't be able to see that typically. Early on, when we had all the soil to remove, we were able to actually see a bird's eye view and actually understand how much room we have even logistically from our site fence to where that parking garage started. So to see that from a bird's eye view early on was very good in the pre-planning phase. When you're hauling out 180,000 yards of dirt, and you're talking about peaking at 170 trucks a day coming, circulating on site to removing that dirt. So to really understand that great elevation change, when we tie into the existing campus, we're going to meet their grades.
You go right back to it. Hey, what did I do this day? And how many different things you do a day in a week. You don't always remember exactly. You might have somewhat of a gist to it, be like, hey, I remember I walked with the camera that day. You're able to go back to that date and you could find the pictures from that and compare it to a Super's Daily Journal or something like that. Everything meshes together. There's no questions to go back to say, hey, did that actually happen? Or are you just saying it happened? So no, here it is. And being organized and be able to get to it at your fingertips is great.
You can see we're starting to close up walls and elevations here. So we're blinded at certain elevations from the drone. So inside, we're using the 360 camera on weekly walks for a superintendent to not have to take the camera out and take 200 pictures, where I could grab it in a walkthrough.
It's a pretty easy process to learn if no one's ever done it before. You download the DroneDeploy, the ground app on your phone. You sync the 360 camera, depending on which camera you have on your project. You sync it to it. You pick your starting point. The drawing's loaded on my phone. I'll drop my starting point in that corner. I hit start, I walk, you hit stop, it knows where you are. And then after it's loaded and synced, you're able to follow that path on the computer, on your phone, and see that exact path that you want.
Doing those 360 walks at the lower elevations and throughout the labs is a great benefit to our team, and it's definitely a time saver. We're always taking a lot of photos, but to have that 360 walk and be able to take a little timestamp of exactly where we are at what time is definitely beneficial to our team.
I didn't realize how much we were able to actually do with it until we used it.
For me, overall, it's been a great tool. First time I'm using DroneDeploy on a project. Also the first project I'm a part of where I'm taking something out of the ground. It's been a great opportunity.